people and try to take guns and all this kind of stuff, if nobody's paying attention, they can say whatever they want. Who cares? It's kind of funny. They'll look like these buffoons that are yelling around saying, hey, do what we say, and nobody's listening. I say that's what we all do. What do you think, man?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, that's true, if just through non-compliance. But what you made me think of right there was one way to kind of sum up why materialism is destructive is because materialism gets you to focus on the outside world instead of looking at your inner core, like your God-connected soul, like you were just mentioning. So that could be another reason why they shove materialism down your throat, is because you're constantly searching outside yourself when actually a lot of the answers, if not all of the answers, actually you can find within yourself.
Oh man, that's totally correct. Think about what we were just saying about we all have a soul. Now the quackademics, of course, tell us no, we don't talk about that. Even though you can totally verify it with your own direct experience by just looking inside yourself. Now we all have this. It composes what you are, as it says in Genesis 2:7. You are a living soul. Okay, and that was that we're talking about Adam, but we all mimic that process. We all have a living soul given to us by God. So what we're supposed to do now, according to material Illuminati satanic culture, never look inside at that. Never look inside yourself. Always look out at the world. So if you always look out at the world, you have no idea that you are a God-connected entity, okay? That your soul is connected, whether you know it or not, is actually connected in constant prayer to the Creator. It's just people just don't know this because they're always looking out at the world of matter. So if you're focused, if your mind's eye is always looking at matter, out at the world, which is, if you're in the forest, that's great. But if you're in the cubicle, well, I don't know. But if you're never looking outward, then if you're never looking inward, that is, you never know that there is an inward world. You never know that you are you, that you have a spiritually charged soul. So you're just going to be people are just lost.
Yeah.
That's then you can go kill the kids in Afghanistan and they'll tell you on the stupid news, oh, we just killed more children in Afghanistan and Pakistan. And what do people do? Do they freak out and go burn down the Pentagon if you could burn it down? No. They turn the channel and watch Seinfeld. Okay, are we just completely gone or what?
Yeah, and
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, another reason, I was we were kind of saying like the Illuminati New World Order doesn't want you to look inside yourself, but also I think from a less conspiratorial view, just from a personal view, probably a lot of people don't want to look inside themselves because they know they're not going to like what they're going to see and they're going to have to do something to change it. So, yeah, this just goes back into the whole materialism just being a different kind of drug and keeping people's minds on stupid little toys and gadgets instead of really looking at their inner core and facing up to, what's wrong with them being raised in this hellish New World Order system.
Oh, man, that's a great point. Yeah, so many people have this idea that I don't want to know who I am because I might be something bad or something. You know what I say? I say, come on, people. Do you really think something as wonderful as your thoughts and feelings are going to be bad? No. It's physically impossible, and it's metaphysically impossible. All you need to do is just practice some good meditation, carry out the proper prayer, and you'll see that you are. It says in Genesis 1:26, you're creating God's image. Not because when you look inside yourself, you're not going to find some horrible beast. No, the whole point is that you're going to find something that's in God's image. Okay, it doesn't say in the Bible after that, after the fall, we weren't in God's image anymore. No, things changed after the fall, but we stayed in God's image. You are right now, everybody. Okay, you've just been told by this stupid Illuminati system, whichever needs to turn their back on, that you're this, you're that. The teachers castigate you since you can think, since we're all going to school and we're like 2 years old now. Well, not us, but little kids that are around now. There are little ways put down, it's very subtle too. You might not be able to catch it, but in a public school when a children is just told no. Maybe that has a psychological impact on them. You ever anybody who's ever dealt with a child that's 7 or 4 or something, you can just say something like to the neighbor's child or something, say, hey, try to, share a little bit better if they're not sharing with your kids or something. They're like turned stone-faced like Hitler's yelling at them or something. I mean, kids are really impacted by adults very often. Of course, if they have enough TV, they'll learn to just ignore adults, but so that may fade a lot of times with in our culture. But, I mean, there's a lot of psychological impact and imprinting going on in little children. And who's doing it? Are the parents? No, it's the Illuminati's workers. So, I mean, we're told a lot of it is, we call a lot of it school, or we call a lot of daycare or after-school program. But, a lot of ways it's maybe we really should call it psychological imprinting. I mean, it's kind of a theme that we're developing here inadvertently on this show tonight, but it's pretty powerful stuff. I mean, compare the psychological imprinting of, hanging out the after-school program, fighting with some other kid over some stupid ball or doll or something, because some kid wants to fight too much because he's watched a little too much TV. Compare that to, let's go back to the American Indians again, where the parents were more present, what a difference, what is the deal with school buses, too? I mean, I'm not talking about the crashes all over the place. I mean, all of a sudden you put a bunch of kids all in an area with no seatbelts on, with no supervision, so they all tear each other apart. And then we see on TV, oh my gosh, there was a school bus fight between these 2 8-year-olds, and they're just tearing each other apart like beasts. What do you expect? Okay? I mean, you've got parentless existence. It's like Africa, a nation full of orphans here in America, and I mean, all this crazy TV imprinting everybody. I mean, everybody's confused beyond belief, and what do you expect them to do but be told? That's a symptom of social failure. And all these stupid adults in America, what do? They sit around and say, oh, those kids need, what's their problem? No, the problem is you, is what we say. The adults that let this country go to crap. It's a war-filled joke with vaccines and poisonous food and overworked and low wages and this out-of-control, insane government. I mean, what a complete... I mean, if I were a, 65-year-old person that went along with this system, I would be pretty depressed. Not to be a little bit mean here, but, you kind of wasted your life in little ways, not using your eyes. You've been given eyes by God to look around and say, hey, here's what's going on. I can use my eyes to see the truth. No, but instead we listen to ideologies and we get fooled by that and don't pay attention to what our eyes see. And then we waste our lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, then you kind of hit on a point. One of the things I really like that you said in the old show when you compared Eastern philosophy versus Western philosophy. Here in the West, in America, in Europe and such, they always are putting all blame on the individual. If a kid acts out, it has nothing to do with the fact that he was in school, for 12 hours, it has nothing to do maybe that he's just, instead of playing out in nature, he sits in front of a TV all day. It's a kid's fault, so they got to drug him up with some Ritalin or maybe give him some Adderall, which is amphetamine, which is speed. So they give the kid some serious damaging drugs. And and it's pretty hellish. And then they just tell the kid it's all their fault. People just they'll never accept responsibility for it.
Man, you just hit on one of the biggest issues in our world today, and that is, it's the psychological nightmare that we have going on, where anytime a person has a problem, I mean, and we're talking like you just said. We blame the individual. You've got a brain imbalance, a chemical imbalance. Here's some super toxic drugs that are filled with fluoride for you. That'll help robotize you, and then you'll be able to go back to your factory with a smile. I mean, can we say Brave New World? Has anybody read Huxley's Brave New World? That is right in the book. Okay, and now here we are in modern Orwellian America doing the same thing, and everybody says, oh, have you ever read the science fiction novel called Brave New World? It's totally coming, and we're doing the exact same thing.
Yep.
But so it's interesting at how they blame the individual when there's a problem, but on the other hand, they promote society, like we need to do what's good for the society, like go attack the children in Pakistan and blow them up with bombs and so forth. Oh, because of the cave people. Obama, or sorry, that was an interesting Freudian slip there. Osama, I meant to say. We would never say on this show that Osama bin Laden and Obama are the exact same person, even though their handprint on their right hand is exactly identical, and their face recognition of their eye distance, orientation of their ears are identical. But no, let's move on from that controversial topic. So, I mean, so back to what I was saying, which I can't even remember what I was saying, but it's So what we say is that when there's a problem with someone, we blame the individual. But then when the social manipulators and engineers need something done, such as a war or something, they'll always lean on the individual. Oh, we don't want to have these individuals that are against war. It's good for the group. We need to act on this is what the tyrants always use, collectivism, as everybody knows. So
Yep.
They'll use individualism when they want to tear a person down, and then when they want society to act as a machine, they'll use collectivism,
Yeah, or they'll attack the individual when they want to have none of the blame put on them. And yeah, you mentioned Brave New World, and a lot of times people, they always make it seem like, the Brave New World or 1984 is right around the corner, and I always tell them, no, it's actually, we're well in it, we've been in it for a long time. So, I mean, some people, they can't even recognize that the exact same things they talk about in that book are going on now. And I to be honest, I haven't read the whole book. I started reading it recently. But another thing that's kind of creepy in that book is they talk about the kids. They get the kids interested in sex at a really young age, which, I mean, if you can't see that happening now, I mean, kids, I remember I was a kid during the whole the Bill Clinton scandal with Monica Lewinsky. And, they would go into graphic detail about what him and Monica Lewinsky, as a little kid, So, and that's another way that they're really hurting children's minds in America right now, is kids are being exposed to some really raunchy stuff earlier and earlier. And then you also got not only just being exposed, but then their hormones. Kids are going through puberty earlier and earlier from the growth hormones and such. And, so they're literally, the children are being attacked from all fronts. And I'm kind of nervous by the time they're adults, who knows what the end product is going to be. So I'll go back into the whole feminization of males that we talked about at the beginning of the show. I have more information here on that. What it is. Okay, so yeah, like in that documentary, it talks about so many different points of how chemically males are getting hit so hard. And I mean, it's called disappearing male, because that's literally basically what's happening right now. So some of the things it talks about are some alligators are actually being hit directly. I mean, there's many different species. Fish, I believe frogs are, but it talks about alligators in that documentary. And these polluted lakes from all the estrogen-type chemicals in the water that we're flushing into toilets and such, and they make its way into the lakes. They're causing sexual abnormalities in the male alligators, and it's not just in animals though. They're starting to see these things in us. More and more, we are way less fertile than we used to be, just in the past 60 years when all these chemicals started hitting us. And also, sorry, I'm trying to figure out this thing
Can you
with
hear me?
Jeff. Yeah, there you are, Jeff. Jeff?
Hey.
Nice to have you,
Looks
Jeff.
like I thought me bringing up Osama Obama was the death of this show. But it looks like I just got signed out of the thing. But anyway, go ahead, man.
Oh, well, no, I was just going more into the feminization. And then, so yeah, we're being chemically hit, but then this also goes into the social engineering, the way, the way males are, and this is nothing, I'm not attacking females, it's just males and females are, they both have good attributes, but males are being feminized in so many ways. I mean, in class, you're told just to sit down and shut up, and basically, sensitivity training, and don't be soft-spoken, and just like I said, we need both of the sort of male traits in society and the female traits to have a balanced society. So if they get rid of, some of the more aggressive, and males are supposed to fight to protect their family, and not just their family, but the culture. So if that starts going down the drain, they can just, more easily, the New World Order can just more easily turn this and gets you to focus on the outside world instead of looking at your inner core, like your God-connected soul, like you were just mentioning. So that could be another reason why they shove materialism down your throat, is because you're constantly searching outside yourself when actually a lot of the answers, if not all of the answers, actually you can find within yourself. You know.
Oh man, that's totally correct. Think about what we were just saying about we all have a soul. Now the quackademics, of course, tell us no, we don't talk about that. You know, even though you can totally verify it with your own direct experience by just looking inside yourself. Now we all have this. It composes what you are, as it says in Genesis 2:7. You know, you are a living soul. Okay, and that was that we're talking about Adam, but we all mimic that process. We all have people and try to take guns and all this kind of stuff. If nobody's paying attention, they can say whatever they want. Who cares? It's kind of funny. They'll look like these buffoons sitting there yelling around saying, "Hey, do what we say," and nobody's listening. You know, I say that's what we all do. What do you think, man?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean that's true. If just through non-compliance, but what you made me think of right there was one way to kind of sum up why materialism is destructive is because materialism.
People just don't know this because they're always looking out at the world of matter. So if you're focused, if your mind's eye is always looking at matter, out at the world, which is, you know, if you're in the forest, that's great. But if you're in the cubicle, well, I don't know. But if you're never looking outward, then if you're never looking inward, that is, you never know that there is an inward world. You never know that you are you, that you have a spiritually charged soul. So, a living soul given to us by God. So, what we're supposed to do now, according to material, Illuminati, satanic culture, no, never look inside at that. Never look inside yourself. Always look out at the world. So, if you always look out at the world, you have no idea that you are a God-connected entity. Okay, that your soul is connected, whether you know it or not, is actually connected in constant prayer to the Creator.